Hello guys, so I wanted to talk about strategy. So what is a strategy? Well, a strategy is kind of like how you choose to play a stock, how you choose to make money in the stock market. Now there's certain strategies that work for people. Some people like to swing trade. So that means they'll buy an option probably close to the end of the market, or when they think the market has peaked out, they'll buy a, let's say this we're looking at BABA right now. Let's say they bought a put here, and instead of selling it at its low right here at like an hour later, they instead choose to hold BABA all the way till after hours, right? And so if they choose to hold BABA, they'll choose to hold it to opening the next day, or maybe even the low of next day. So this person would have made 400% on a put, holding it, swing trading it overnight, expecting the stock to go down overnight. So that's how swing trading works. So let's look at BABA options. So let's go to puts, and let's just look at what price is it now. It's at $99. So let's look at the $100 put. So we're actually gonna try to look at this. Click on it, and then remove this. So if you would have noticed, if they held this put on BABA, that's today, and it's from yesterday. Let's see, 7/18, 19. Today's not the 20th. Today is the 22nd. So if they hold it from the 21st to the 22nd, here is at the bottom, I think, of the put yesterday. So it happened early on. So they held it bought it anywhere from, let's just say they bought it at 0.25. All right, just for the sake of the argument. Now they bought it at 0.25, and they're going to swing trade it from yesterday all the way to today. If you would have swung that option from yesterday, you could have made 165%. And actually, let's try to get this better. I'm trying to make sure this is as accurate as possible, guys. But if you bought it on the 19th or on the 21st, and you knew the stock was going to go down tomorrow, or you had high hopes the stock was going to go down tomorrow, you would have swung traded to 191% gain. It's pretty interesting. Now, there's also people who like to swing trade towards the end of the day, like right before the market closes. So 721 at 1600. At 1600. So actually the put gapped down, but BABA opened up a bit higher, and I think that's also due to time decay as well. So holding it here all the way to, let's say, an hour after the market, 30 minutes after the market opens, you could have still made a 34% gain. And on top of that, if you would have held it, because BABA dropped today, bought it from there and held it, see how much of a gain you could make. 300%. So some people like to do that strategy, and a strategy is basically how you decide to play the stock. Some people like swing trading, so that's their strategy. Honestly, you guys saw, you could have made 300% on the option if you'd have bought it closer to the end of the day and held it to the high. And that's put. But you have to be right about that, because calls, if you would have bought a BABA call yesterday, and if I can just, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. If I would have bought a BABA call at this price, I would have been down so much money. Not only would I be down on the price of the stock, but I would also be down on time decay, because options have time expiration dates. So I'm just putting that out there. BABA, the puts on BABA were really, really clean if you swung trade it from yesterday, especially if you swung trade it towards the end of the yesterday. Some money was to be made there. Now, let's look at the SPY. Or if I can type correctly. Some people like to scalp one stock every single day. So what they do is they choose one stock for the day. The market was running up, so they bought calls, right? The market started running down, they'll buy puts, they'll buy calls again, they'll buy puts again, and that's all they do. Just buy, sell, buy, sell. They day trade this one stock, but there's so much movement in a stock like this, the S&P 500 has a lot of volatility. The options move a lot. The stock moves a lot. So if you would have bought a call right here and moved it up to here, you could have made 32% in this little movement. And this is the stock price. The option price times it by 100. You could have made, let's say if you bought a call right here, you could have made another 23%. If you would have bought a put right here, and you went all the way and you held that put, you could have made 81%. If you would have held that same put all the way towards the end of the day today, you could have made 145% in one day. And that's on options. So let's look at puts. Let's actually go look at this 394 put. I know that one was out of the money for a bit. Looking at this 394 put, I hate this chart widget thingy. Once again, starting from today, it opened up kind of pricey. It actually dropped down from yesterday. This put from yesterday dropped down, which is kind of weird because the SPY opened up down. But whatever. Oh, it's probably because it the expiration. Oh yeah, this is 0 days expiration. That's why. I was wondering why it was a bit wonky. Had no days left. So I would have bought it here this morning. Held it all the way up. 500% gain on an option. Now, realistically, people just trade these little increments. Now, this is the same SPY, same movement practically, and they'll trade the increments on the SPY. So let's just go right here, 200% gain, right? So from this peak all the way to here, to 23% gain. Right here, from here to the bottom now, 50% gain. And some people, they'll just scalp this all day. The stock will move up and down, and really no major movements have to play. But as long as you're playing option, I think this was 121% movement on this option. And people will scalp this option a lot. Let's look at this one. From here all the way to the peak, or right here, 167% gain. If I would have held that same position, moved it all the way to this part, 200% gain. If I would have bought a put, I could have made, 28% gain on a put. And that's what people do. They'll just scalp. They'll trade one stock all day for those gains. That's all they do. It's just cash reward, cash reward, cash reward. So that's one option. Some people like to do something called sympathy plays. So if you remember anything from sympathy plays, this is the SPY. I'm going to show you another stock, let's say Apple. But I think tech is down right now, so this might not be a good example. As you can see, the SPY is having a little run up right now. Very bullish run, but it's okay because we're going to see that SPY fucking tumble to, on Saturday. And I actually think my puts are probably not looking good. So let me check that real quick. I'm setting up a swing trade myself. Actually, no, my puts are still pretty good. I'm still way in the money for my puts because I bought in fucking all the way up here. But I digress. The point being, this is the SPY put. SPY. Let's look at the stock. SPY. So some people will trade the SPY. I don't know why I was looking at the SPY put. That was probably why I was so weird. Oh, but there's a little bit pullback. But anyways, let's say I look at the SPY, right? And I see the SPY is having this, huge candle up at 938. If I go to 938 on here, I see a huge candle up. This candle jumped up 0.34%. This candle jumped up 0.19%. So a call option on Apple would have made significantly more money than a call option on SPY. So what people usually do is that they'll be looking at the SPY and they're trading Apple calls or Apple puts, right? So if I see that, hey, my SPY dropped at 953, I'm over here, it's 952. I see Apple start dropping. Well, I'm going to do, now I'm not going to play SPY puts, but I'm going to play Apple puts because Apple's following the SPY, and I see that I can make way more money trading a SPY put compared to an Apple put. So watching from, let's just say, a normal peak of the day all the way to now, I'm looking at anywhere from like 145% gain. And on options, I'm probably looking at around 200% gains. We're having this massive candle. I think that's super, super weird. I kind of want to mark this level. I'm getting distracted. Huge push-up. Wow, that's like almost a vertical play on that. Very interesting. I wonder why I did that. And I would totally 100% buy puts on this. I don't know. Did we start? Now I'm looking at Apple right now. The SPY is having a massive run itself. 0.12%. Apple jumped up 0.23%. It's crazy. Yeah. Once again, sympathy plays, guys. Like that's how some people do it. They're seeing SPY. Hey, SPY's running up. I'm gonna go to Apple and I'm gonna play Apple. If you guys saw it right there, this is still green. Apple went red for a minute there. Buy your calls on Apple because I'm seeing this go green and I could have made profit. See, it's red. Buy it. SPY's still going up. I want to see if SPY takes down a little bit. That is a huge run. I think that's very interesting. This is becoming a me trading video. Can it break that level? It already broke this level, so I know that's possible. We're on a trend up, and we also bottomed out right around here. Is that the low? We touched that low twice, that 392. So we're looking at trying to run up. And we might run up, you know, like I'm not saying that's not possible. I did just lose almost all my money on my SPY fucking call puts just from that movement alone, but it might fix itself. Time decay is also a bitch. Wow. That's very interesting. I think that's cool. My did it top out? I think it topped out. Okay, anyways, going back on topic, enough about this. I am looking at the SPY and I'm seeing Apple make a similar movement as we just saw. This is a deviation. It's probably a great time to get in. See, Apple is still green. I see my SPY is red. I'm probably going to buy puts on my Apple. You know, if my Apple's green, my SPY is red, I'm going to buy puts on Apple. Right? The SPY always dictates what everything else does, usually unless there's a news play. Which brings me to my next thing. People like to play news plays. So, there's plays that make Apple or Snap. Snap had earnings yesterday, right? And so I'm going to use Snap as two examples of two different things. Snap had earnings yesterday, and I did a video over earnings and how to profit off of earnings and how to, you know, watch earnings. But that's what happened. So what people did is that they were, you know, trading Snapchat all day. They're scalping it, and some people even bought calls all the way back here, or people bought puts today. And so when Snap opened up, it was down. Snap dropped huge. It was like Snapchat's down 38% from yesterday. So that's what some people were doing. They're trading Snapchat puts. They're trading Snapchat calls. So everyone was doing that. Now, a sympathy play from Snapchat was Pinterest or Meta. But Meta's kind of doing its own thing today. PINS. You know, as you can see, Pinterest took a fall today. Fall yesterday. So there's, you know, Snapchat options. They were overpriced because everyone knew about earnings. So everyone was buying options and they're overpaying for them. People weren't overpaying for Pinterest, but if Snap had bad earnings, a sympathy play was going to be for Pinterest. So that is earnings. That's also news. When there's news, there's usually more volume. And that brings me to my next thing, volume plays. Look at the increase in volume of Snapchat. It's huge. That means there's a lot of movement in Snapchat, right? And so when all that movement's building up, we see a drop like this, right? And so Snapchat had some some volume spikes. As you can see down here, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but towards my volume side, you can kind of see where there all these green candles at the bottom, they're spiking in volume. And it's really interesting to see, because then you see a spike like this, and that's where you can profit. I was looking at one of the options for it, and Snapchat really doesn't have a lot of option movement, but there was this one option with a lot of movement on it, and it did top out. This is a 400% jump right there. And I think the option, it didn't move 400%, rather it moved, I think, like 130%, and it immediately fell. So people who bought it at this price were fucked. But I was watching that. I didn't get in on that, sadly. But there was a lot of movement in the fucking Snapchat. There was a lot of movement in Snapchat, and so we saw this spike go up. So that is volume plays. There's a way to tell for volume plays. I did a video over that on unusual whales and how to use it. So people do that. There's also people who do, I guess this also falls under news plays. Congress, if anyone who knows, like Nancy Pelosi, she bought a bunch of shares in Nvidia. And Nvidia's down right now, but compared to fucking where it was, like almost, let's look at the daily chart. Nvidia was on its spike down, and then Nancy Pelosi said something about fucking chips and putting more chip subsidies, and AMD jumped up or Nvidia jumped up like 27%. It's going down, but there is a huge time period where people were just swinging Nvidia options. The massive movements on Nvidia. It was crazy. It was crazy. I did a swing on Nvidia. I think I made like almost 1,000% on one option because of just how much the fucking movement was. Like this whole thing moved. Once again, 27%. Yeah, I made like Thursdays I made 1,000% on a movement, and it was just incredible. I love doing like stocks like Nvidia. Honestly, you see things that if Nancy Pelosi, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna do chip subsidies to stocks." So not just Nvidia. A sympathy play was AMD. If I look at the dailies for AMD, AMD is also down today, but AMD also experienced a huge fucking spike. So from down here all the way to up here, we saw a 26% gain in AMD. It was crazy. And so people were trading that, and it looks like today AMD couldn't break past its level, couldn't break past yesterday's high, so we started trending downwards. We did touch this line before, as you can see. We also touched this line. Levels trading is like for scalping, or knowing levels is always a good idea. So we might hit a resistance right here. We could break up again. You never know on AMD. Just basically depends on what everyone says, because we did touch this. We haven't broke down below it yet. We did touch it. We came back up, so might be a sign of some support on AMD. So AMD calls might be a move. Let's look at SPY. I think I already drew out all the levels for SPY. We want to go mark yesterday's low, today's high, yesterday's high. We didn't exactly break it, but we started falling. And we touched this level before, I think. We went all the way down to 390. We went all the way to 392. Or 362, sorry. So we went all the way here to, I think I got 391 is my position right now. I think this one's my position. Well, I hope it falls to 387, but I think 391 is probably going to be the move. 391 right here. I think we're going to gap down after hours. So after hours, I'm expecting it to move about another 0.35%. And if that happens and I swing trade it properly, I could make 100%. Assuming everything goes in my favor and my options go in the money. But enough is said about that. That's kind of, there's swing trading, there's scalping, There's news plays, there's volume plays. Some people watch unusual whales all day and they wait for a volume play to happen. So, I mean, there's always something happening in the market. Some stock is making $1 million, some stock's losing $1 million, and you just got to be there to watch it. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys learned some different things. Kind of find out, what do you like doing? You know, are you the type of person who wants to be at their computer all day? Or are you the type of person who wants to, you know, trade once a day and make money off of that? You know, swing trading, in my opinion, is definitely one of the biggest ways to make a lot of money in options. That's where you see a lot of the 1,000% gainers and the whole bunch of other shit like that. You see a lot of more shit in swing trading compared to scalping. Scalping, you're making little movements, you know, 50%, 30%, 75%, sometimes 100%, but you're doing that 9-10 times a day. You know what I mean? So it'll add up compared to just doing one trade, being very risky about it in some scenarios, and making 1,000%, making 800%, 900%, 300%. You know what I mean? So definitely depends on the common trader you are. Do you like news plays? News plays are very fast and violent. If news comes out, hey, Meta is coming out with the Meta, or Apple. This is one, Apple glasses. I'm really excited for these. Apple said the Apple glasses will be $299 and they're expected to sell 4 million units. I don't even know if that's true or not. Like, this is just fake news. But if something like that was to come out, I'm going to go on Apple and I'm going to immediately buy calls. And guess what's going to happen? Apple's going to shoot up because that's great news about the stock. So news plays are really important. A lot of people follow what Congress does. For example, recently there was a lot of subsidies to the tobaccos. The tobacco farms were getting some subsidies. I know there's this one cannabis company, and there was a bill in Congress that was passed to try to legalize cannabis. So that was a thing. I don't know if it is. I haven't heard about that, but I know that day the news plays on cannabis was just perfect almost. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video a little bit more. As you can see, look, I'm waiting for this. This line's like almost in sight. I'm really hoping we can hit it. I'm really hoping we can hit that line right before the end of the day. I think that would be very, very cool. Just hitting that 391 line would be extremely nice if we can hit it and below. You know, we might have a little bit of a run up towards the end of the day, and I might buy more puts if we start running up again. But if not, I hope we continue this trend sideways. You know, I hope we continue this trend sideways, because if it just goes sideways, then I'm wholeheartedly expecting it to just fucking dip to 391. Or if it dips lower, then hey, I make even more money. But that's enough about me. I'll do a video over swing trading any minute now. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Find out which one you like.